Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Rack of Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
Oh, that's right. We're live, baby, with another episode of our comic book review show here on ComicPop Returns, where you can catch us live on Monday nights around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk about the books from the past week, recap and review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then we're going to recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think you should check out. But between that time, we also want to let you know that you can sponsor today's show by using Super Chats. Ask a question or comment, read it here on the show, be part of the show forever. And so a bunch of other people have done that already. We got about 7 so far. Thank you very much. Thanks, for you intrepid early risers. We appreciate you. And we'll be reading all of those at the end of the show when we're done with the reviews. But before we do the recommendations, so there's still plenty of shows left for you before we get to the end. So you don't know when you should stop watching. So yeah.
You'll never know.
You really don't. You really don't. We got a lot of show here on this channel. If you haven't already checked it out, we just dropped our brand new podcast. We're on episode 5 of this new series, which we are calling No Comic Required, because you don't have any comics required to watch the show, and we don't need to bring them.
I still don't know about that title.
I know. I like it.
I'm just saying, I feel like it still pigeonholes you into comics.
Who cares?
I do.
No one even cares what the name of the show is, because like shows don't have names anymore on YouTube. It doesn't matter. It's just for compartmentalization, just so I can call it something and slap a logo on it. Speaking of which, we need a logo for No Comic Required, or at least a podcast thumbnail. Okay. I made a placeholder. It's not good.
I know, I saw it,
but it's just there.
I saw it today.
It's deliberately made just to be replaced.
Okay.
But yeah, so check out that show if you haven't already. The latest episode dropped this past Sunday. We actually edited out about a 17 or 18 minute long segment, which I thought, it'd be fun to go into a reaction video of the 5-minute sneak peek that James Gunn made. And then I thought, what am I doing? So I excised that piece, threw that up on its own. And in fact, it was a good idea because Warner Brothers is very, very litigious. Or at the very least, they're very liberal with their copyright strikes.
Yes.
Ever since the merger, they were like, no transformative content. You may not. Well, I mean, we really need the money. Honestly, like it's making money, and they're just going to keep it, and good for them. I'm glad that a multinational studio needs our pocket change. That's good for them. But I'm going to continue to react to stuff and talk. They
should only be able to react to you should only be able to. They should only be able to get the money from
just that portion.
Just that portion.
Yeah, you should be able to monetize only the 2 minutes where we actually looked at your shit. But yeah, I'm excited.
Someone asked where I got this hat from.
I know. I think you got it at San Diego Comic-Con.
I think you got it for me. I think it's from the DC booth.
I did. Okay. I did get it from the DC booth at San Diego Comic-Con. I saw it somewhere. Maybe it was on social media. I don't remember.
This is definitely theirs. This isn't the other group.
No.
Oh, no, it's Heroes and Villains.
It is the other group. It is. Yes, I got you the DC hat.
Heroes and Villains.
Yeah, there you go.
That's where this hat is from.
Heroes and Villains. That's right. I saw someone else have it on social media, and I was like, that's a great hat. And you were like, oh, my God, I need that hat. And I was like, well, it's done.
I like this hat.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep hitting you with my chair. I have like a problem.
I've noticed.
Slowly careening into you.
That's fine.
This is where the show is going to be today, folks. Today's a weird day.
Yeah.
I went to a conference for work.
You did.
I'm going to be starting a new career next fall.
That's right. Brand new career. Yeah. And which isn't this, unfortunately.
It's not this, but that's okay. I'm very excited. Anyway, we're here. We're doing our things.
Yeah.
And I also have a can of something.
Good. Well, crack it.
Mine wasn't as good.
Yeah, it was pretty solid.
I barely did anything.
Yeah, it's good.
Dang.
I like it.
Dang.
Anyway, let's talk about some new books that came out this past week. Oh, is there any news?
Oh, yeah, is there news? Tell us the news, Sal. Give us the news, Sal. What's going on in the world of comics?
Not much.
Oh, I'll never remember that jingle for.
No, there's nothing really I can even.
Just gotta do a hat tour one day. I actually do have enough hats for a hat tour.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Nah. We could do a little video like that. If it was 2016,
I should do that as
really
a reel on my own Instagram.
We can make no money.
Well, I'm not trying to make money.
I'm just saying,
sharing it.
Like, it's nice. I think it would go well.
And then immediately change careers. Yeah, that was the order of events. I was just like, I actually went to like a thing today.
Yeah.
That was not comic book related. Whenever I think of a conference, I think of Comic-Con. That's really what it is. It's supposed to be a comic conference.
That's right.
It's there for socializing and networking and all that.
Yeah.
But I went to like a regular, like what actual people think of when they think of a conference today.
Yeah.
Which was like just not my normal thing. And I was just sitting there like, Comic-Con is so much more fun than this.
Yes.
I did learn though. I did learn.
You learned new things.
Learning happened.
That's good. That's important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
We're gonna jump into some comics. I was vamping for you until you came up with some
thanks.
news.
Well, you have something to say about this.
I don't have something to say about this. I haven't even finished my conversation with Amazon. I read Marvel Rivals this week. Marvel Rivals #1 came out from Paul Allore and Luca Claretti. And this is essentially a collection of like the Marvel, I think they're Infinity Comics. It was like the digital first comics that came out, and then they just collected them and printed them up just to, get like a second bite of it. Yeah. It was really funny. I was looking up, I was trying to find some specific information about this book. And when I looked it up, I found this Reddit post where someone was like, oh man, I really hope that they print these. They like did that for some DC thing, blah, 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 blah. And someone was like, never gonna happen. And I'm just looking at this like, I'm like, why would you, like, that's such a weird thing to plant your flag on. Like, that's never gonna happen. I'm like, actually, Marvel loves, and actually.
Yeah, what?
Actually, Marvel loves to reprint this stuff and get more money from it. This book was like $7, $6. I don't know. It was a lot of dollars.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pages, but it was a lot of dollars. And, let's just talk about what happened to the book. I was trying to figure out which way I wanted to go with this. Okay. But like, listen, we get
$6.99. Yeah,
it was $7. $7 freaking
for a book that already came out.
Yeah. So, but I didn't read it on Infinity, so fine. Because of the fact that it is a collection, we get a lot of Galacta.
Ah, yes.
Or Gally, daughter of Galen. Although in the opening to this, she's like, everybody's always like asking me if I'm like, Galactus's like daughter, but like I'm not. But like, wouldn't you be embarrassed? Like blah blah blah. So I'm like, I guess you are, but you don't want to be like associated.
Sure. Anyway. Yeah. She's emancipated.
But because of the fact that like there is so much recap because it's like a collection of like shorter comics, it like kind of has Stan Lee vibes. Stan would really over explain everything that was happening, even if it was just referencing a scene that happened earlier in the book.
Yes.
That's how this kind of reads. Okay. And so there's something fun about that. But at the same time, I'm like, all right, I get it. They're like, oh no, these folks are fighting. The book is here clearly to give you like, here's a little extra backstory. The fact is, within the game of Marvel Rivals, which I probably should preface that if you don't know about it, Marvel has a game called Marvel Rivals, and it's basically Overwatch but with Marvel characters.
Yes. That's the pitch.
That's it. That's what it is.
And you know what? Like, hey, that just made Overwatch about 1,000 times better.
Yeah, in a way.
Especially, well, isn't it amazing? I don't mean to interrupt, especially to talk about something that you know more about. But I'm really excited about the idea that like Overwatch was like, man, this is going so well for us. Why don't we shit can our book or our book? I'm so used to talking about books.
Games.
Our game.
Yeah.
Replace it with an expensive version of a sequel game.
Yeah.
And just force all of our players to go to a second game.
Close it down
at the exact same time that Marvel is offering an option.
No. They weren't offering an option yet. Like Overwatch had shut down years ago, and basically by shutting the one down and putting up the other one, they basically gave me the opportunity to go like, I'm done. I'm not gonna play this anymore because I liked Overwatch. I played a lot of Overwatch.
You did.
I liked a lot of the dynamics of it. There was a character in particular that I loved the dynamic of it, which I haven't quite found. Like, there's no 1-for-1 for that character, and it's like fine. But guess who it was, everyone? Throw it in the chat. Whoever you think my favorite. Some of you know who my favorite.
Your main was.
My main was. I had a main in Overwatch. Then I had a main healer as well. So obviously, I'll give you a little hint there. Anyway, but yeah, when they did that, like I feel like they lost some of their player base, and then obviously like they changed a lot of how they were going to make money. And that didn't really work for a lot of people. It definitely didn't work for me. So when this showed up and someone very kindly in our community gave me an alpha code, I was able to jump into this and be like, wow, this really like scratches the itch Overwatch had. Wow, Memento Mori totally killed it in chat. Literally, those are the two, folks.
Yep.
Those were the two. 100%. Yes. I loved Junkrat. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but I am, because the fact that like he drove people insane. I loved it. The chaos. Anyway,
madness
incarnate. But yeah, so like when Marvel Rivals came out, I was like, cool. What was fun about Marvel, is fun about Marvel Rivals is not the bot thing. There's a lot I don't like about this game, but I do like a lot of the fact that it's like, yes, Marvel Rivals, the company or the entity is like, we're making costumes, we're making our own lore, we're making up this multiversal world, because that's really what this is. It is like a standard sort of like contest of champions-esque game, but including the multiverse, right? So we definitely are feeling like comic book plot. Right.
Lends itself to that.
And they're making up their own costumes and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're also giving a lot of like comic book costumes too.
Yes.
And referencing where they're from. I love that. I think that's really, really great. And within there, if you like dig a little deeper into some of your favorite characters, there's lore.
Right.
Like there's lore for where this version came from.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Okay.
Yes. Also, like there's so much cake in this game, and I'm not talking about the food. I'm talking about,
I mean, kind of.
Well, yeah, but like
sorry.
But I'm not just saying for the ladies.
Yeah.
Because for April Fools, they gave us the Venom twerking emote.
Yes.
I guess we're in the news portion right now.
Right.
And
yeah.
I have it, and it makes me so happy. And it makes people so upset.
Yeah.
Just Venom just twerking it up, because Venom is caked up in this game. And it seems like the creators of this also have this thing about blondes.
Yes, they love their blondes.
The blondes with the most cake possible.
Mm-hmm.
Just get as much cake, as we will see as Emma Frost enters the fray.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just like, they're like, how far can we push it? I'm like, I guess we're gonna find out the upper limitations of cake.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's a lot of lore already. So I thought it was interesting that they're like, let's make a comic as well. You're pulling content from the comics. Now you're going to be giving back to the comics by creating your own.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't expecting a ton of lore. I think I was expecting maybe a little bit more backstory for it. We get a little here, but mostly this is here to synergize with the game.
Okay.
You know, it tries to like, it's like, here is the game dynamics.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you're on a team of 5 other people. So it's 6v6. And sometimes you're fighting the same heroes, or sometimes you're fighting heroes and villains together.
Right.
Or sometimes you're a team of all heroes and so are they. And it's like, well, how would this work? And so
it's like, who gives a shit? It's a video game.
Right. But they give you like a kind of throwaway narrative reason.
Okay.
Kind of, right? Where it's like, in this issue, we deal with the Tokyo 2099 boards, which involve a lot having to do with the Master Weaver and Spider Zero, and how there's like this rift and they have a way in order to save the Web of Life. Now, I always thought the Master Weaver, based on his literal design, that he was the villain, and I was like, I guess when we're working for him, like, I don't know what happened, no, they're both not villains, and they both just have reasons that they think will work to fix it, and so that's why the heroes are working for them and like helping them. And I'm like, okay. And then it turns out we need to like work together, and it turns out that they're both right, and then you needed both answers and whatever, right? That's the comic. The comic is silly and fluff and probably not worth $7. I'm sorry, it's not. You could have read it for free. That said, let's get into the thing that kind of bugged me, was that on the Comixology version, on the digital like purchase version, first of all, paying the same price as I would in a physical store. And that's fair, because it's keeping physical stores open, because if you could get it cheaper online, more people would do that and not go to physical stores. I'm not complaining.
They think, but it's not true.
Whatever, but I'm not complaining about that, right? What I'm complaining about the fact is they decided to put the cover on it that says you would get a free spray. Not really a big deal. I just want everybody to know, within asterisks, within the world that we live in right now, this is just not a big deal.
No.
But
in our inconsequential comic book review show, we could talk about that.
Hear me out.
We're not here to talk about tariffs, folks.
Hear me out on this one. Okay. So it's like, they put this cover on there. I buy this comic. I'm like, well, I was going to read it anyway, but at least maybe I get like a little stupid spray out of it. Cool. And a spray is literally just like in the game, you tag. You do it usually when you're in the waiting room.
Yeah.
There it is. Some people do it so that you see it in the kill cam, but I don't. Because I'm not that slick or good. But they went ahead and put that on there, and I read the entire comic, and I was like, wait a minute, where's what? So I went back through, and there's nothing there. And I realized, of course, like, there was a code, right? You had to get a code. And I'm going to guess maybe there was different codes. I don't know. Maybe every physical copy had a different code in it so that you couldn't just keep reading. It's silly because it's literal nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing.
But there it is on the cover, but you don't get it. So then, like, Sal tweeted out, and Amazon got back, and Shannon responded, and I was like, "Hi, Shannon, honey, I paid for this comic. I paid the same price someone did in the stores, and I'm not sure if this has anything to do with you, Amazon,
right?
Because they're like, well, didn't you go through and read the the restrictions and all that stuff. And I was like, well, see, sometimes Comixology will leave out pages. And I'm not saying of content, but of like ad filler. Like the Comixology book, when you buy it,
does not come with the ads.
Won't come with ads unless it's like a Marvel or DC thing, where it's like them talking about a book coming up or something like that.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't in there. So I was like, I don't know if this is a you thing or like a Marvel thing, which Marvel's never going to respond to.
And also
ever,
is certainly capable of being, because, you know, Marvel.
So then they were like, I'm not supposed to DM them, and I haven't had a chance to yet.
Yes.
And I'm just gonna be like, listen.
Yeah, they offered to
literally,
it
is inconsequential. But I guess what like my point is that I'm kind of tired of like laziness, because the fix here was Marvel changed the cover. Put the cover on the digital one that doesn't have that promise.
Right, just remove the thing that says
that was it.
Bonus in-game spray.
Yes, that's fun, and it would have been like interesting to have, but it doesn't really matter, and I would have forgotten about it, right? But like, I'm more annoyed at your laziness for not just going like, oh, we should probably not put that on there. Right. We're not offering.
But nobody asked, because like no one's thinking about it. And because Marvel is like so.
And that's what it is. It's like a symptom of something greater. Yes. And that's what got me annoyed, was I was just like, just take it off.
Right.
Like that's all you had to do was not put it on there.
Yeah. No.
But you did. And now I feel like I have been shorted.
Exactly. Like you made a promise. Yeah. Yeah. It's true. No. And that's funny. That's where we are.
And it's like, I'm just kind of like, I'm renting digital comics. I pay full price for them. I'm happy to do it.
And if they go under, or they decide that who
knows what would happen? I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, just switch the cover. Just take that off. And then we won't feel like that.
Yeah.
Like if I really was like, I need to have this. It was like a costume. And I was like, oh, I really want that.
Yeah.
Then I'll go to the physical store and I buy the freaking book. But like, just take it off the cover.
Yeah.
Like it's a literal switch out of whatever file you're sending to.
Well, and you have probably multiple covers anyway, or you could just remove the.
And again, it's just a symptom of something else, where it's just like, they just don't think.
Yeah. That's classic
and
Marvel.
They just don't care.
And that's just how it is. Yeah, it's funny. There was a little bit of news, I guess I should say,
sure.
apropos of that. Robert Downey Jr. Made invitations to like a party, and in it seemed to suggest that this is what Doctor Doom is going to look like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Of course, as you know, Robert Downey Jr. is Doctor Doom in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this thing was released or unleashed on the world, and it has people asking questions. This is also corroborated by Robert Downey Jr. appearing in public and having the same exact hairstyle. So we have to assume that this is Robert Downey Jr.'s hair as Victor Von Doom. I mean, is this Doctor Doom's suit in the MCU? Especially in the wake of the...
Well, is it possible that like he knows he can't reveal it, and so like this is just something made
by whoever,
just something he like obviously like
slapped together from a whole bunch of stuff,
right?
I mean,
like where he can skirt the legal issues he might have by doing that.
Absolutely, no, and that's the thing, is that people are talking about it as though it's a big thing, and I'm kind of like just addressing it as a way of saying like, hey, maybe not. I would actually probably believe it is. I think it is official art. Like, I think that this is definitely real because because it's ugly and because it's poor. Like, because it's so low effort, and I feel like that's definitely Marvel's like MO lately. And
but there's like Doctor Doom at the bottom.
I know, it's like how dare you put like real Doctor Doom next to it?
It also looks like he's doing magic and science.
That's what makes me think that this is real, because I don't think that like Downey Jr. and his crew or his like graphics department would know to blend that Doctor Doom is a blend of magic and science.
Is this referencing anything? Is this like a specific?
Is this like a cover?
Yeah.
I mean, Doctor Doom has always just been a full page. Like, who knows? This does not look anything like a Doctor Doom cover that I've ever seen, but it does. It could be anything, I mean, there's implications of England, and I don't know. It's a whole thing. I'm right. It's Doctor Doom standing full-bodied. It could be anything. But I should say that in the wake of the April Fools, is it or is it not Mary Jane as Venom?
Yeah.
And it is.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, no, it's official. Yeah, no, we were wrong. It's not an April Fool's joke.
We weren't wrong. That was just something I hypothesized at the end to give us hope.
Our hope was
dashed.
Dashed and ill advised. But yeah, this is just a weird looking thing, and I'm like, yeah, it occurred to me immediately after I saw that horrible mask, and I went, oh yeah, Robert Downey Jr. isn't gonna not show his face. Like, that's a thing he has to do.
Why would he have to do that?
Because he's a billion-dollar actor. The same reason why Tobey Maguire rips his mask off every 2 seconds in every Spider-Man movie. Same reason why Tom Holland has nanite mask technology in Spider-Man movies. The same reason why no character in the MCU has a secret identity. The reason why everyone has nanite technology, even when they have no business doing that. The reason why Moon Knight can transform magically instead of putting on a suit. Because we got to show that face. And it's like, let it go. No one's here for that anymore. Like, Marvel needs to learn that nobody cares who's playing who, and they just want a good actor to play the character. Just put them in the mask. And I'm sure Robert Downey Jr. would love to not have to show up. You know? Oh, great. Make him look like Doctor Doom, and I'll Mandalorian this shit. Because Pedro Pascal hasn't played the Mandalorian in 2 seasons or more.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's going to show up for the movie. But, yeah. Ugly. Is it real? Probably. But also, I mean, who cares?
I think you do.
I care only in as much as I hate, low effort garbage.
Fair.
Especially when the low effort that is being given is like is from a source that has all the money in the universe.
Right.
So anyway, there it is.
And there it is.
Let's get back into some comics. Well, what'd you think of Marvel Rivals? Was the book good?
Oh, I mean, like, it was fine. It was cute and harmless, but it doesn't really add anything to the world.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
From. I don't think it was fair to charge anybody $7 for this whatsoever. Yeah, that's it. I just feel like it was a weird thing, especially like I don't know if this was like meant to be like a way to get like, oh, we'll get those game players into comic book stores, but like most of your game folks are living in a digital space anyway, and so like for them to not include the thing for the digital game in the digital version, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I agree.
Weird. But yeah, overall, I mean, like, it was like, who cares? It was cute and like occasionally fun, and like Spider-Man's in it, and like Doctor Strange is in it. And,
it's ironic because like Spider-Man is nobody's main. He's like a horrible character to play in the game.
No, he's not. People like him quite a bit. People want to be Spider-Man.
Sure.
And he annoys the hell out of all healers.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Jeffrey on the cover. Jeff is a prime character.
Well, sure, he should be, as he should be. Yeah, well, I read, as I am wont to do, the Birds of Prey series. Birds of Prey number 20 came out from Kelly Thompson. This time with art by Sammy Basri, whose art I do enjoy. This is a really fun series. As I've said many, many times, this is the beginning of a new 5-part story arc.
Nice.
Which sees the Birds of Prey, I don't know, being taken for... There's a villain from a previous arc who is taking revenge on the birds and trying to take them each off the table at once, or one at a time. And that's what this book is. This particular issue is the birds are each going on a separate solo mission from the central location of the of Oracle's lair. And so each of them does their own thing, and the villain behind the curtain is taking them out one by one. Barda has been separated from the boom tube technology, so she's fired into space. Barda's off the table. That kind of thing.
Right.
At this point, honestly, I feel like Birds of Prey's plot is completely secondary. Like, I couldn't tell you what the last 2 arcs were about, but I can tell you any individual moments of character interplay, which is what this book is all about. Like, this book is about getting fun characters into one space at the same time and seeing them interact with each other. I do feel a little taken because in the first arc, they were like, look at this grouping. It's got Cassie Kane, it's got Big Barda, it's got Zealot, and a bunch of other fun characters. I mean, some you'd expect, like Black Canary and Oracle. Also, they're looking for Sin, who's a character I genuinely couldn't give less of a crap about. But regardless, she's earned her place on the team because she's a character who could be on the team, and so she is. But Zealot leaves like after the first arc, and the implication / promise seemed to be that we were going to get like a rotating cast, which I was both like excited by and disappointed by, because I was like, oh man, I really like this grouping, and you could tell that Kelly Thompson did too, but not Zealot.
Right.
So like it's more like actually the whole team will be exactly the same, but Zealot will not be in it anymore.
Which I was like, Zealot's a fun addition.
Yes,
because you can kind of do whatever you want, because she's been around, she's here or there.
But in like alternate like Flashpoint realities, like it's very rare that you've seen like Wildcats Zealot.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
I mean, it's been a long time since I've ever seen Wildcat Zealot, since reboots, universe mergers, and whatnot.
Right.
But that was fun, and you know, Big Bart is great, and she's kind of the central focus of this issue.
That's nice.
But yeah.
So is this is like, because New Gods is going on, but I guess we don't know when.
Don't worry about that. It does not care about that, and makes no effort to reconcile the two in any way.
All right.
Basby's art is great. I really enjoyed his depiction of the birds. It's nice. I think that this book has taken on a reputation of being like, do something a little more like experimental and off kilter. This is a little more literal. And honestly, since like the plot is so important and I barely could put it together or care, I'll take good art and fun character interactions over whatever the hell the story is about.
Okay.
I get why this book doesn't probably sell very well, but I do enjoy it every time I read it. You know, but that's the power of Kelly Thompson and the combination of these characters.
Awesome.
What else we got?
We're gonna talk about Ultimate X-Men.
Oh yeah, why not?
Ultimate X-Men baby. Came out this week. Ultimate X-Men number 14 by Peach Momoko. Man, like this is when we realized, you know, it's like they're in the tubes. You know, Hisako and Kageyama. Shadow King. But we're making sure that when they're in the tube, they're going into the astral plane, which I freaking love the iconography, because it's always like I associate the Shadow King with the astral plane or the mindscape or the whatever, you know, like it's just my like things I meet up with. And I guess Peach Momoko agrees with me on that one. We also get introduced to the idea that there is a group or a something called My X, or Mix, but it's MY-X.
Okay.
Which, regardless of what it actually is, I love the fact that it feels like it's a callback to me, My X-Men.
Yeah. My
like,
X.
My X.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, yeah. I feel like in the past couple of issues, we really had an opportunity to see Momoko play with like really beautiful imagery and great action sequences and like some horror. Like, I love in this issue, because we're still in the astral plane like a little bit, right? So we see like that, you know, red sky, rest of it's black and white imagery, right?
Oh yeah.
And during that, Noriko or Surge, who I've completely forgot we ran into earlier in some of the issues, she shows up in that space by like crawling out of like, we get the classic iconography of like a Wolverine-esque body on like
on the X,
but it's Daken, because Daken was in this earlier. Remember we ran into Daken, and he's the one like being tested on, and is like seemingly where they're pulling stuff from to create mutants. But she like comes out of his body.
Okay, cool.
Because we're in like the astral plane, and then ends up like wearing his skin like clothing and like using his claw. Like I was like, this is insane looking, and I love it. Like freaking love it. As we've been going along, sometimes I forget that this is really a story about armor.
Right.
You know, like Hisako has been like our character, and then she's not been our character. It's interesting that like the way in which Momoko's kind of like shifted us. Like, I think we're going to come back around on her, but I guess I don't really know.
Yeah.
Because she can do whatever she wants with these characters. But like Hisako's been like an interesting character, and I'm really hopeful for some continued development of her. Although it would be kind of daring to take our ride along and then just keep her like in this villainistic, like nihilistic state. Villainous. That's
villainous.
That would be kind of cool. Like, I don't know. Honestly, like at the end of every issue, we've been having the lexicons.
Yes.
This one I really, really enjoyed quite a bit. Because Momoko's using this as an opportunity to share her culture.
Yeah.
Through
for a Western audience, like to a Western.
Yeah, and whether it's been explanations of things that she's referenced or just like breakdowns of uniforms or like culture just in general. And this time around, there was like a bunch of sketches of the characters and then like a listing of 4 of the characters and what their theme songs would be. And you could look them up and you could listen to them because it's all like music that she knows.
It's so important. Music, in anime, at least,
yes,
is so intrinsic.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
I can imagine her being like, I can't not.
Right. So like I went on like a quest to find some of these songs. It was really fun to track them down and just get a better image.
And we can't play any of them because YouTube is a free place that everyone can enjoy the expression of ideas.
Yeah, but that's fine. But if you haven't, you get a chance to look it up. I'm sure someone's posted somewhere some links to those. But yeah, it gives you a better idea of how she views these characters. And it was really funny. On one of the songs, I scrolled down into the comments, and like the most recent comment was like, "I'm here because of Peach Momoko's like comic," and so I wrote like same, and it's like someone else was like same. So like a few of us went ahead and we're like, I want to hear this, I want to learn, I want to listen. And I found like a couple of like artists that I was like, I never had heard of them, and I like the music, so I'm like, I can't wait to learn more. But I think that's always fun. She's not the first like comic book writer to do this music, or to like mention about music. Like, this is what I was thinking about when I was writing it, and like I always enjoy that so much, to know what the writer was thinking, because sometimes when you're reading something, maybe you get a feeling, or you're listening to something while you're reading something, but I think it's really important to get a feel for if the writer or artist was listening to music to get that. So really fun.
That is fun. I read Resurrection Man, Quantum Karma.
Oh, no way.
Numero uno.
Yes.
From the Black Label line. Hey, anybody remember Black Label? Because I sure barely do. And of course, it's so important and intrinsic to DC.
Excuse me, we just finished up that Batman Werewolf book.
That's right. Was that Black Label?
Yeah.
Well, it was great. But this is written by Ram V with art by Anand.
It says RK on the cover.
An RK. Sorry, man.
It says it. It's on the cover. That's how they read it.
Yeah, I see it. All right. Well, good for them. I'm sorry. I'm glad I didn't have to do it. So this is a brand new Resurrection Man series from Black Label. If you have ever read Resurrection Man, which I imagine a 10th of you have, it's the same book.
Right.
There is no interruption of service. This is not a fresh new take on Resurrection Man. It is, but it's also not like a reboot, relaunch, reimagining. This is Resurrection Man. If you read Resurrection Man from back in the day, same character, to the point where there is a tease at the end of this issue that this is not just Resurrection Man from then. Electric Blue Superman will be in this book.
What?
So the concept of Resurrection Man, dude dies and he comes back to life with the powers or defenses from the thing that killed him. So if he is drowned, he's Aquaman. If he is burned, he's the Human Torch. If he dies of old age, what happens to him?
He's Ra's al Ghul?
He is a mastery of time.
Oh.
And that's this book.
Okay.
And man, is this good.
Really?
First of all, RK's art is great and gritty. This absolutely ought to be a Vertigo book, and I have every belief that it was going to be or couldn't be because of how long it was in development before Vertigo came back. That's my assumption. I honestly don't know. I do remember that if you're not subscribed to this channel, you should be. You could see my chat with Ram V, and he talks about Resurrection Man a little bit in that chat from New York Comic Con.
It could also have something to do with the fact that maybe this book's ready to go. They wanted to put it out there, and maybe this isn't what they wanted to launch Vertigo with. Maybe they've got a plan of like something they want to launch with.
They already launched it. It's got Jamestown and the Forest books all over the place. That's that nice house by the ocean.
Oh, is that Vertigo?
Yeah, that's Vertigo.
Other than that, wait, maybe this has to do with the fact that it's like maybe like because he's a DC character and a DC character shows up in it. Like, that's what I'm wondering, if that's where the line's going to be.
That's where Vertigo. That's the Hellblazer, man. That's Swamp Thing.
I understand that, but I'm wondering if they're going to be like, no, Black Label is for our superhero books, and Vertigo will be for our books about not superheroes.
Right.
You will not see a superhero in this.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's absolutely no plan.
Oh.
And they have no idea.
Well,
and that, like, maybe it's just that, like, maybe Black Label pays better.
Maybe it's a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, well, life is. And so that's what this is. But great issue. Ron V's writing is phenomenal. The story of this character, like he's old man, he's dying, he's saying goodbye to his family, and it's just like you're watching like a patriarch say goodbye to his family, and then he's just like, well, like I have to leave. Like he does no hospitals, like he's gonna die in their home. And he says goodbye to everybody, and then like he just leaves like out the back, and then goes into a field and dies, and then comes back as he was. And he's like, I have to leave. Like, I'm sorry if this is gonna like give them no closure, but like,
yeah,
it's better than the alternative. And then he runs into himself, who is like a lord of time, and he's like, hey, come on, like there's this entity out there that's going to consume the universe. And I know that sounds like such a cliche, but like the way in which it's presented, it's like you don't understand. It's not like it's Darkseid or like
is it the Langoliers?
No, it's a very abstract depiction of like an entity within the galaxy that's going to eat like everything, and yet there's no mouth you can find. Like it's an incredible image. But he's basically like, no, if this thing succeeds, you will have never met your wife, you will have never had your grandchildren, like nothing will have ever existed. That's what the end of the universe really means. And so like that's how I can convince you to help me. And it's just really, it's like, wow, that's what?
Okay.
It's like dark and depressing, and it's avant-garde and magic and cool. And I'm like, oh, Tiffany will love this. So, but I really enjoyed it too. And I was like, this is really like, this is good stuff. Really, really well depicted, really great art. Nice iconography. There's a design that is depicted on the cover that like Resurrection Man showcases that he represents the time element of the story. And so if you're looking for something that's kind of like JMD Mateus-y or old school Vertigo,
sure,
you should read Resurrection Man, and then go back and read the older Resurrection Man.
Okay.
But yeah, I really enjoyed that. We both read Absolute Superman.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. And here it is. Absolute Superman number 6. This one, of course, drawn or written by Jason Aaron's, art by Carmine Di Giandomenico, and not the typical artist, but still manages to carry on the kind of like visual aesthetic that Sandoval had started.
Yeah.
So you're not missing a beat here.
Right.
You're picking up Absolute Superman.
Right.
We get a flashback because in the previous issue, I believe, Superman goes to Kansas and he's like, I gotta go home. This one showcases like Cal in the pod on his way to Earth, how traumatizing that experience was, and
he was
then
awake the whole time.
He's awake the whole time.
And I was like, that feels like a misstep in terms of the L's design.
Yeah,
here.
like there's no knockout gas that I could turn on in this thing.
Like, should you be separated from the pod, we're just gonna knock you out until we find you. It's fine.
Yeah, probably
just
a good
let
idea.
him sleep.
But
which I guess would have been worse. He wakes up, he's that much older.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what's worse.
I mean, they did it in Thundercats. That's all I know. But anyway, he goes to Earth. He meets the Kents. The Kents bring him in. Pa's obviously less than enthused. Ma is much more amenable. This also implies like the Lazarus program. I don't know if Aaron is also talking about these like, foreign controlled interests in American farms, but certainly that is an element in this because the Lazarus Corporation owns all the farms and stuff.
Yep.
And this is where I went, oh, damn, that's not what I thought was going to happen. We'll complain about that in a minute. But for now, so then, eventually Soul comes back online, helps Cal understand English, and then is able to express his gratitude to the Kents, and he's kind. And, they don't know each other long enough for them to be parents, but they do, aid and are a good representation of humanity for Cal before the Lazarus Corporation shows up and rips them apart, or at least rips them from each other, and disappears the Kents and takes Cal away.
I didn't get the idea that they disappeared the Kents.
Well, I get the impression that like 50% of them died, but we'll see.
Probably.
It's not entirely clear.
Yeah.
And that's what this book is the problem. I do love this series, and I love it when it hits like a sledgehammer. And when it doesn't, it's confusing and muddled.
Okay.
I find that this is Aaron's problem that I've never seen Aaron have. And I wonder if it's because it's Superman.
It could be that, like, okay. So this is literally one of those instances. Remember I think it was last week, I was talking about how it's like it was with Flash.
Yeah.
Like the original, like the not absolute Flash, but the regular Flash. Where it's like folks are not loving that series, but that doesn't make it a badly written book. It just means it's not something hitting for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I recognize is happening for me when I'm reading Absolute Superman right now. Because I recognize that, like, I think Aaron is doing a good job writing this book, but I'm just struggling to let go. All right, so hang on. Let me set this up for you. Like,
you have a very different criticism.
I have a different criticism, and I'm going to take it away from you for right now and just talk about this real quick. Where it's like, Absolute is meant to be characters who we know who are not at all who we know.
Right.
Like that's kind of
down to the core of who they are.
100%. Right. And just different everythings. Right. But I'm struggling with Absolute Superman to let go of hope in conjunction with this character. This world is so bleak and it's so sad. And while I can see where I have an idea of what might be going on here, let me get there for a second. We're also living in a world right now where, like, there's so much Superman because there's a movie coming out, and that all that Superman content is hopeful. Like, even in the trailers, like in the main book, it's just hope. And while some people might be like, this is different, and I like that, I am not saying that is bad. I am really not. I'm just saying when I'm reading it, I can't connect here because, like, issue to issue, we're like, I'm just trying to find something. I'm trying to find the thread of Superman right now.
Yeah.
And I'm having a hard time with that because I keep holding on to what I think of Superman.
Exactly.
And I know that that's what the problem is, because Batman, there's enough of like Batman in there where I'm just like, yeah, whatever. And with Wonder Woman, she's walking such a different line, but well,
it's a beautiful independent comic book that you can enjoy anyway. So who cares? And also Wonder Woman.
Yeah, 1,000%. But Superman, I'm like, I feel like what we're doing is that the hopelessness of this world, the sadness of this world, the sadness of this character is Aaron just setting up a dismal world that needs saving so that, like, Cal can, like, get over that and become that and move into the role of hero. That's what I'm hoping is what we're going for. But my, like, roller coaster, like, ride up to that point, I'm just having such a hard time to be engaged fully, because I guess, like, I recognize the fact that, like, I think the creative team here is doing a good job. It's just I personally can't connect with this character.
That's fair.
Which is why, like, some issues I'm like, I see it, I can see the thread, and then I have issues like this where I'm just like, this freaking poor guy, like, this poor kid, like, this world sucks. I don't want to be here.
And
I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to, like, meet Martha Kent who can't remember things. Like, I don't want that. Like, I don't, like, right now in my life, I just don't want that. But that doesn't mean it's a bad book.
No.
And I still am going to challenge myself to read it, because I do feel like things that are well written that may not fit in with, like, your emotional state or your worldview of a character, you should try it. You should give it a shot, and you should be challenged in order to see the good parts of it or find the criticisms, the fair ones, if there are ones. But, like, I'm just like, this isn't something that's hitting for me right now.
That's fair. Like I said, when it hits, I think it does, especially for me, seeing the dots connected, and when there is, like, a great moment of triumph, it completely nails it, mainly because of the things that you're citing, where it's like, it is so dismal and bleak. And so watching those heights, and I think you mentioned, like, off mic the other day, how, like, this is supposed to be so dismal and bleak and depressing, or at the very least real, so that when we climb that mountain, when we get over that hump, it's going to be that much more satisfying.
And I assume that, and I'd like to stick around for that to happen.
Reveal. But,
like, when I get into this, and, like, this issue for some reason in particular was just so dismal, and I don't know why. It was maybe it was just the subject matter. Maybe it was just, like, you meet the Kents, and it's not like at least the Kents weren't, like,
also creeps or weirdos,
right? They weren't, you know, like, they're just doing their own thing, but they don't even get a chance, and, like, that is so sad. And then to end it on that thing where, like, Lois Lane, like, goes to see Martha, and, like, clearly she either has Alzheimer's or something. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe we don't. But
I think we're gonna find that there's some other reveal.
But like, if it is that, like, that is, like, so unbelievably sad.
Absolutely. I am so disappointed that the Kents aren't actually Jor-El and Lara, who arrived so much like earlier than Cal, and then took up life here, and then eventually like I was so excited for that concept, and that's just not. And instead, it's just, oh, here's some redundant parents that he gets to meet for a few minutes, and then they die.
Yeah, it's funny too, because it's like this is coming from a person who read Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow and loved the like expanded upon like origin for Kara, where like, you know, she sees her world, like, and you know what I mean, and like all the things that she goes through, and has that moment of being like, it's too much, like we can't fix this, we can't do it, but then overcomes it. Like that is sad and that is tragic, but maybe because it's like a truncated series that I knew was going to have an end, with this, I'm like, I don't know how long this is going to go on.
Yeah.
Like, when will we get to that? Will we get to that? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, yeah. And the fact that it's like everyone died, and I'm like, you mean,
but like, did they? They didn't show me, so I don't think so.
Like,
but
you know, like,
yeah, I don't think Crypto died, but we'll see. It's just weird.
But like, I am legitimately looking forward to this comic like revealing itself in whatever way, because again, like, even if it's something that I'm struggling to connect with, because it is a well-written story,
yes,
this is the type of thing where it's like, this I want to challenge myself
with. It's going to be a challenge, as opposed to it being a skip.
Yeah, I don't want to skip it. I want it to be like, you know what, like, this isn't what I'm looking for right now, but like, let me try. Let me try with this one. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of great things that you really enjoy, let's talk more about Moon Knight, because I know how much you love this series.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let's do that. Moon Knight came out. Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, number 7, came out this week by Jed MacKay, with art by Domenico Carbone.
Oh, who's doing a great job.
Or Carbone?
Yeah.
Depends on what part of New Jersey you're from. Listen, this is a really fun issue. This issue focuses almost entirely on 8-Ball and Hank Pym.
Like the cover does. That's cool.
Yeah. And it does the like, it looked like the villain who turned good ended up turning evil trope, but it was all a ruse.
Oh, okay, great.
And so we enter the pool party, which is like, everything about this is the reason why I think Jed MacKay has fans, like, because it's,
why you're one of them.
Well, yeah, because it's like, yes, we love the MacKay remembers, we love the MacKay has like reverence for characters, but MacKay is also like clever, and in this, essentially, it's like Moon Knight comes up with the solution where he's like, listen, I know I messed up. Anyway, here's what we need to do. We need to find something that will help addicts of glitter, the like fey drug, get off of it without dying. Because if you stop taking it, you will die.
Yes. Wait, I'm sorry. You're going to need to explain what a pool party is.
We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Hang on. We're going to get there.
All right.
I'm doing the thing where I'm telling you something. I'm hooking you.
Oh, okay.
You're hooked, right?
I am hooked.
You gotta know.
Yeah, because you mentioned the pool party, and I was like, oh, capital P.
We're going to get there. Pool party. So we need that. And the only way they can get someone to help is like, they need someone like Hank Pym. Hank Pym could probably come up with that, but Hank Pym
is like a messed up character at this point.
And like, yeah, and he's gone underground, and how we're gonna find him? Well, that's when like 8-Ball, who's hanging out in the room, is basically like, you know, it's too bad we're good guys. Like, if you were a villain, you just like kidnap somebody or threaten someone like close to him, and he'd reveal himself. And they're like,
well, you will kind of are a villain.
They're like, well, maybe we could do.
Oh, very Luca Brasi. Maybe you go make it look like you're not very happy with this family, and see what you can find out. You know.
So essentially, they're like, well, maybe. And so then 8-Ball like just starts like spitballing. He's like, he becomes spitball.
Right.
And he's like, all right. Well, hang on. I'm seeing.
Let me think of it as a villain.
He's just looking at everyone. He's like, I got it. Give 8-Ball some creative space, and like let him cook. And he cooks indies. He conjures the idea of a billiard themed team, including characters like Deadpool, The Pocket, and Chalk, called Pool Party.
Right.
Get it? The billiards. 8-Ball, Chalk, Pocket, and then Deadpool, because
pool,
right? But they're all being played by members of the Midnight Mission.
Oh.
So like Reese is dressed up like Chalk. Soldier plays Deadpool because like he's a vampire, he'll be fine, right?
Right.
Or whatever.
All right, that's great.
Like 8-Ball, like there's a conversation going on. 8-Ball's still like, okay, well, like hang on, like Hunter's Moon, you know, if we took off most of like the white and gold stuff, you're really scary looking. You're Pocket. So he's just like in all black.
Okay,
like,
cool.
Pocket, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like Tigra and Moon Knight are having a conversation about Pym and like and whatever, right? We get that whole thing. And so they do the thing where they go and they threaten Pym's daughter, Nadia.
Okay.
Who like Tigra's like, this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
She was like trained in the Red Room.
Yeah.
Like, so they
get their asses kicked.
threaten her,
Mhm.
and Hank Pym shows up.
Oh no.
And like Moon Knight's like, hey, don't hurt. Hang on,
Right.
hang on. Listen, I needed to get you out of hiding. And he's getting real mad. And then Tigra's like, you're talking to me. And he's like, uh-oh. Hank Pym's like, hey.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. So yeah, we see like there's a lot of like really great energy here, whether it be between the fight between this like fake villainous team and Nadia, or the energy between like Moon Knight, Hank Pym, and Tigra talking to one another.
Former Avengers.
For Avengers, you know, like Hank Pym and Tigra have had a kid.
Yes.
And like Moon Knight is like kind of stepping in as like a surrogate
dad. Okay, cool.
And like obviously those two are kind of together, but there's like some chemistry between. Like you get a little love triangle.
Yeah,
happening.
that's good.
You
That's
get some
cool.
love triangle.
Right.
You get like later on, you get Mark and Pym talking to each other about like, you know, he's like, should I do it? Should I go like, you know, meet my kid or let him know I'm around? And Moon Knight's like, if I had a chance, like, yeah, I would do that, man. Like, come on, don't be a dick.
Right. He's like, but I'm Hank Pym. That's all I know how to be.
That is mentioned.
Oh,
he's just like, yo, you don't get a lot of chances to like make up for stuff. Like maybe
this is one of them. Yeah.
And like they mentioned the Skrull thing for a hot second and all
right,
that.
how he should be a Skrull and he wasn't. How they really screwed up with Secret Invasion.
Anyway, really, really fun issue.
Yay.
For sure. Carbone's art is good. It's great when it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And at times it feels like maybe it's a little bit of an attempt to clone
Cappuccio.
Cappuccio a little bit.
Okay.
But I'm really like, I think there's going to be like finding his own rhythm as we go, 100%. So it's not like it's like, it doesn't ruin the book, but it's just like when it's great, ooh, it's great. And then when it's not, you're like, oh,
okay. But it's still fun.
But that's how I felt about Cappuccio too.
Yes.
So I'm just like, I'm in, let's go.
Right.
Let's do it.
Great. Good for Moon Knight. I'm glad that it's continuing to be good.
Sure.
We both read Absolute Green Lantern.
Wait, whoa, no, we're not going to do that before we do Let This One Be a Devil.
All right,
I feel like Let This One Be a Devil should be
next.
Let This One Be a Devil number 2, Tiffany's like favorite book that no one cares about.
This week.
Yeah, this week. There's plenty of those.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I've got so many of those. This is by James Tynion IV and Steve Fox with art by Piotr Kowalski. Man, this is a book about the Jersey Devil. It's within the True Weird universe thing, so it's a lot of like cryptids and stuff like that.
Cool.
But you're talking to a comic book channel that is based out of New Jersey. Obviously, best cryptid.
Yeah.
Jersey Devil. Great story. Great everything. Lots of lore. Lives in the Pine Barrens. Oh boy.
No one can live there. You can't even dig a hole.
Well, you can.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, but like
Pine Barrens.
But if you do, you know, the soil's so acidic it decays a body fast.
That's right, exactly.
Anyway, the overall design for this book, I love it. It has like a newspapery feel for like the credits page and stuff like that.
Cool.
And I just really dig it. I don't know. It's kind of weird reading this book, especially this issue, right? Like where you're reading a story, a comic, and have so much history and lore be from a place that you live.
Right.
Like they're talking about like Egg Harbor and like places like that. I'm like, I know where that is.
Yeah.
What?
Maybe you were there not too long ago.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, also, Tynion's not from here.
No.
So it's interesting to see like an outsider writing about the world you're very familiar with.
Yeah. And it's also like they've done their research, both of them, because it's Tynion and Fox. So like I don't know who's doing which lifting.
Yeah.
But like they know their stuff. And so it's like we in this issue, because it's like we're dealing with like the past, like the birth of the Jersey Devil, and then we're dealing with the past.
Yeah.
Like from where we are now, but the future from there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it's like the 1800s, I think, for our current day story.
Yeah.
But in this, we're getting some more accounts of the Jersey Devil.
Okay.
From the time in between it then and the present comic then, which is again the 1800s.
Oh, okay.
Including like factual like accounts, which is like, I mean, when I say that, I mean like they're on the books historically speaking. Like this
historical
person says
accounts
that they saw this.
Yes.
Like like the Joseph Bonaparte one.
Oh, okay.
You know, brother of Napoleon, who lived in New Jersey for a little bit.
This is
real. This is all real, and supposedly he saw the Jersey Devil and then left. He
went back to France.
I think he went to England. But not because he saw the Jersey Devil, but he was I think quoted as saying something like it stuck with him forever.
Oh, sure.
Like he saw
the
devil of New Jersey and was like, I gotta go.
F this horrible country.
I think it was his brother or his cousin. I don't know. Joseph Bonaparte. You can look it up.
Yeah.
But I'm like, neat. Like you did your research for this stuff. That's fun. Obviously, like I love cryptids. I like cryptid info. I think this is really fun. And like I love the fact that like we're toying with in this book that like the idea that the Jersey Devil is real. We're like, let's just go with it, right?
Yeah.
But like we also make sure that like we slip in a reminder that there's like a family story in this issue, because it's like we do a lot of like talking about accounts, and then it's like, hey, don't forget also in the 1800s there's like this guy and his family doesn't like him and he's dealing with that too.
Yeah.
Like, because he's an educated man and like the rest of the family are kind of like minors and stuff like that. And like, so he comes back to his family. So there's like tension there, but also the Jersey Devil. And I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I want.
Right.
Make this a series.
Let this one be a series.
Let this one be a series. Like, make this like Netflix, buy this.
Oh, sure.
Make it.
I'm surprised that it took this long.
You're building a place in New Jersey. The Pine Barrens are right there.
Yeah.
Just go film.
Yeah.
We have great tax credits.
That's true. There were more movies made in New Jersey than Los Angeles last year.
I love it. But yeah, like having that like past factual, let's talk about like the where the origin came from. Let's talk about accounts. Then also like, hey, don't forget, like this guy's trying to make peace with his family, is like it just adds all these layers to this like tiny onion.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I'm sure James appreciates the shout out.
Yeah, of course. I just want to give a shout out, of course, to Kowalski. The art on this is great. It does a really fantastic job of adding atmosphere to the comic, and I really like his expressions, movement, and designs. Like it just adds something. It really gets you in the mood. Anyway,
great,
fantastic.
Well, we read Absolute Green Lantern. This is, of course, from Al Ewing and Yehoni Lindsay, I believe, did the art for this one. And this is the introduction of the new Absolute Green Lantern. Now, I wonder if the switcheroo / misdirection or big reveal wouldn't have been more impactful if the cover didn't ruin it. But you knew that you were reading an alternate reality where, you know, subversions or expectations are subverted. So obviously this is going to be different. But that being said, the book does open with Hal Jordan, and he has this kind of like walking state where he encountered Abin Sur, and he has this power, and so you automatically assume, because you're meeting Hal Jordan in the street with a jacket on, that he has a great power from beyond the stars in probably the form of a Green Lantern ring. And so eventually he encounters a law enforcement officer, and that person turns into nothing, and he moves on, and he ends up at a diner, and we see the display of his power, and it turns out no, he's not the Green Lantern. In fact, he has taken in a kind of like, I don't really know if they even said what it was specifically, but like he has kind of a black hole power that sucks in life, and he has no true control over it.
Yeah.
And so he is trapped. They also do reveal Abin Sur in the kind of form of a gigantic ass villain, or alien, I should say. And what's the city called? It's not Coast City. It's a new city that they introduced in this book.
I thought it was Coast City.
Maybe it was Coast City, but they talk about it. I thought it was, well, in any case,
but that's not where they are.
No, there it is.
Green.
Yes, it's not Greenville. It's Evergreen. Thank you.
Green.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're in Evergreen, and this city is destroyed by a gigantic hard-light construct in the form of a gigantic Green Lantern, which is the most eye-catching image in the entire book. It was certainly what they revealed as like a tease, I think, at San Diego Comic-Con. Good idea. It's a great visual image.
Yeah. So like for me, is my turn?
Sure, yeah. I was gonna say with but Hal has some friends, and one of them turns out to be the actual recipient of the Green Lantern ring.
Yeah. Yeah. So all right. So like, much like with Absolute Martian Manhunter, I'm kind of want to reserve my right to make a call on this comic for at least another issue. But that said, like, I know we're just getting to know this world, and we're getting some familiar names to help tether us to what feels like a very changed bit of lore for the Lanterns, for sure. But I mean, we literally get a mention of 4 classic Green Lanterns: Hal, John, Guy, which I assume is Guy Gardner because they said Guy, and Abin Sur. I'm like, all right, got it.
Yeah,
we got that. Like, all right, I know those people. I don't know who they are here, but whatever. I also like, although this issue, like much of it focused on Hal, I kind of like what we've seen of Joe so far, the new Green Lantern. She comes across as like kind and thoughtful and smart, but like also like ready to take action. Like there's something cool there. And if the power works a similar way of like choosing a person, for like the very little bit of time that we get to know her, like her actions, I think, speak highly of her.
I'm down for that. And I like, and I'm more inclined to read a book starring Green Lantern that isn't kind of like the introduction of, like, let's say Jessica Cruz, where it's like, oh no, my power, it's so scary, and I don't want to be a hero, and what do I do? I'm like, I'm so sick of that.
And obviously, like, our chat is on fire with something that I think a lot of folks who have any DBZ knowledge whatsoever, Abin Sur has a very different look.
Oh yeah.
I have seen a lot of Majin Buu. I've seen a lot of Frieza, at least one version of it, like incarnation.
Yeah.
Whatever. I get that. I get those vibes. The book overall, the art does have a little bit of like
an Eastern flair,
an anime, like manga inspiration there. So it's like kind of unsurprising. Yet I will say, with like the tail thing coming down and circling around, that for me was giving like Xenomorph vibes. And that was really interesting, considering Abin Sur is not typically a villain.
No.
But the Xenomorphs are a menacing creature, and the way that he's hanging there in the sky feels menacing. And I was like, that's kind of like, I like the mystery of that.
Yes.
You're like, why is he here? What is he doing?
Yeah.
Why, like, is he meant to look less benevolent and more antagonistic? I don't know. Like, there's something there.
Yeah. Yeah. You can imagine.
And I mean, even with the Freezer or the Boo thing, like, that's still an antagonist.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and you can imagine Ewing knows that, and that was definitely an implication. But Lindsay's decision to make or to help design Sur in that way is a really smart move. I'm very impressed with a lot of the ideas and executions thereof, especially because this is a first issue. It doesn't feel like a first issue, too. It feels very, very like in it. Feels very like this is a comfortable book that's ready to be part of the Absolute Universe.
Like I honestly, talking about like Hal and his weaponized hand, of course, made me think of Parallax. Especially with the hand thing in general. That, like you think of, when I think of Hal Jordan, I often think of that image of him with all the rings and the hands. Like, so like him having that, like, again, like iconography of like,
look at his hand.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, oh, that's kind of smart. I'm like, maybe it's supposed to, but that doesn't mean that's the way we're going at all.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a misdirect.
Right.
In this issue, I feel like the art, like, there's a lot of like some good stuff here. Like, Lindsay has a lot of great panels. Regardless of how you feel about the look of Abin Sur, like, he's rendered well.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Yep.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing their continued growth in this series. Like, I think they're like, just overall, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more growth, especially as they're getting used to the characters and the world and just becoming comfortable with it. I've seen their work before in terms of a lot of like, either character drawings or whatever.
Yeah.
It's different when you're doing panel work for sure. And I think we're just going to see an improvement and, just more like finishes. Like,
I think so.
I think there's like, again, there's a lot of good in this book.
Oh, every sequence that it depicts like a big, like an epic moment, really, really shines.
Oh, that's funny, because there was a couple of moments for me when like just quiet moments for Joe. She's just drawn like really beautifully, and like I think Lindsay's doing like all the work. Like, I think doing the colors and everything.
Oh,
and there was just some really great color as well in this. So yeah, like, I enjoyed the first issue, and I'm looking forward to checking out more. And as we unraveling this, deciding like if this is a book I want to continue with.
Yeah, that's
because like it's funny with Green Lantern. Like, there's something really fun about Green Lantern for me, but like I'm rarely a Green Lantern reader.
Oh yeah, same. Yeah, big time. I don't know if you have any more, but I read Daredevil: Cold Day in Hell.
No, I didn't read
from Charles Soule and Steve McNiven. This is Dark Knight Returns or Spider-Man Reign for Daredevil.
Okay.
There's no other way to describe it. But with Steve McNiven at the helm. And it's very interesting to see McNiven's approach to this kind of book, because it does have heavy Reign-inspired Corey Andrews kind of look to it. And of course, McNiven's no stranger to doing an old man, insert Marvel character name here, because he defined the genre doing Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
This is, Old Man Daredevil.
But we didn't call it that.
Nope, we called it Daredevil: Cold Day in Hell.
I think that's kind of smart.
It is smart. Don't. I think that Old Man Quill, Old Man Hawkeye.
It was a bridge too far.
For some. I think that those books, because you really liked Old Man Quill.
I did. I never finished it though.
Yeah, and I think it's because it was seen as a derivative. I think a lot of people skipped it because they're like, Old Man, whatever. The Old Man, not my freaking brand. But Daredevil Cold Day in Hell is just, what if the world sucked and everybody was old and, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's the premise. Here's the idea.
Right.
From one of the least exciting Daredevil writers from the 20th century. But that said, this is great. I don't like a lot of Charles Soule's Daredevil at all.
Interesting.
I think it's like but just news. But this is inspired and fun. It takes that idea. It's like, look, if you're going to sign up for an Old Man Daredevil book, get Frank Miller. But if you can't get Frank Miller, then you get Charles Soule and have him do this.
You
because
get Chip
it's great.
Zdarsky. If you can't get him.
Because well, no, because I think he kind of did. Because Zdarsky did Old Man Cap, and I was like, yeah, it's fine. But this is cool. So yeah, Matt doesn't have his powers anymore. He like his powers eventually like just ran out, like they wore off, or whatever. Doesn't matter. He burned them out. Let's say. And there was a big war, and it's over now. And Kingpin died also, and so we just see Matt's life, and Matt is, as you can imagine, a priest again, like all of them, like every version of Matt. He's a priest. He would never be frocked, by the way. They wouldn't, just from his past, they wouldn't. But never.
How would they know?
Because he'd have to tell them. But no, I mean his philandering. But
No,
yeah,
you could apologize.
You can rosary your way through that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Matt is running a soup kitchen, and he's just trying to do the best he can, but he's also just world weary and tired, and he's like, nah. And then one day a dirty bomb goes off in Manhattan, and it is filled with a similar substance to the kind that gave him his powers in the first place, and it immediately reignites his powers. And he's like, oh my God, I'm back. And he's going to investigate the dirty bomb situation, and he ends up running into some characters who are being bade, commit terrorism by a unseen evil. It's Bullseye. Bullseye's running things. He's the evil bad guy who's behind everything. And so Old Man Bullseye has sent people to do this. And Old Man Bullseye and when Daredevil goes down into the subway to recover to discover like what's going on and save one of his members of one of his parishioners, I suppose you'd call it. He ends up running into Captain America in one of the most like spectacular full page splashes of an alternate reality Marvel comic I've seen in the last year. And it's just Old Man Cap, and he looks like Santa Claus, and he's just like, and he's done. Like, you could tell he's dead, but he's like holding up like the street to save this one kid, and he's like, take her and then listen to what I have to say because I know you can hear me. And like says some words that kind of like set Daredevil on the path to vengeance.
Yeah.
And then dies. And that's the end of it. And it's fantastic. We also see another fate of a Marvel character in the form of Frank Castle. What happened to Frank? Bullseye got him. And just cut off.
I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, I think if anyone could get him, it would be
I
Bullseye.
guess that's true.
But he like cuts off Frank's arms and legs and like pins him on a wall, and he just keeps him there as like a trophy.
Why his arms and legs?
So he can't get him.
What?
Frank has no arms and legs, just on a wall. And, and Bullseye like keeps him alive.
Oh, he's alive?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was gone.
No.
What?
Yeah, it's horrific. Everyone looks gross and horrific, by the way. It's a really interesting choice. Like, everyone looks sick, and they look sick from the same problem. And they kind of are because they're all old. But I don't know if that's what they're going for. But it's just a dark, brooding misery fest that, like, if you're a Daredevil fan, you're like, I'm here for this. I also heard that Soule kind of like almost a little bit Marvel styled it, where he'd be like, here's what we're going with, Steve, and then Steve would go for it. It wasn't necessarily full script. It was right. I think I have actually like a quote about it. Let me see if I can pull that up. But
that's freaking
it's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, one of Bullseye's like minions brings the shield to Bullseye, and Bullseye's like, "Hey, Frank, you want to hold it?" It's great.
So, okay. All right. So, like, always in the future of these heroes, there's like a person who's like, I'm going to take down the heroes, and then I'm going to, like, save parts of them or like relics.
Here we go. For the story, Charles cooked up this world you just read with Steve, and Charles was going to write a much looser plot than he normally does. It's not that the story was messy or ill-defined, far from it, but Charles wouldn't break it down panel to panel. Steve would do that. Steve calling the visual storytelling shots is probably the only way you'll ever get a whole miniseries in this 16-panel grid. This book is a true collaboration with both creators.
16-panel grid?
Reads great and runs smooth. Love it. And
What?
I'm down. I really enjoy it. Yeah. Daredevil Cold Day in Hell. It's dope.
Okay.
So smart move, by the way, from Marvel to actually do something like this.
Wow.
So what's your book of the week?
What is my book of the week?
I know, right?
What's your book of the week?
I gotta give it to Daredevil. I was gonna give it to Resurrection Man. I think Resurrection Man is a better book, but
you had more fun.
I had more fun reading this, and that's how I measure everything.
Oh boy. It might be that, or it might be Moon Knight. It could be let this one be a devil, or it could be Moon Knight. It could easily be either one of those two.
Have you ever given it to Moon Knight?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's give it to let this one be a devil. I really had a good time with this book, and again, just the shout outs to Jersey.
Yeah.
I love cryptid stuff, and when there's one in your backyard, that's fun. When
I
there's
agree.
when there's the urban legend that is right over there, it's that's really cool. It's so fun.
I
Obviously, agree. Growing up in a state where the long running group,
national conversation is that we suck.
Well, there is that, but it's just because haters gonna hate me.
Yeah.
But Weird New Jersey being a thing that has spread out to all over the globe, but started this idea of being man, what about all the wild stuff that people say that they see?
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's make a conversation about it. Let's make it fun. And of course the Jersey Devil being a big piece of that.
Big time.
I don't know, just neat. So yeah,
I agree.
Oh yeah, two devils.
Two devils. That's right. Oh my God. Two devils won. Oh wow. So here we go with our super chats. These are our sponsors for today's show. So let's hear what they have to say. Arduit says, CPOP woo. I don't know if you guys are wrestling fans, but Swerve Strickland came out last night in static ring gear, and it was amazing. Peace and love, y'all. I did see that, and it was amazing. And I'm like, how do they get away with that? But it looked great, and I was thrilled to see it. He looked like Static from the Batman Beyond universe depicted in the Justice League Unlimited cartoon.
Oh, okay. All right. Matt Fisher saying Abin looks like one of the evil Shenrons from Dragon Ball GT.
No, maybe we talked about that.
There we go.
Matthew Holicksher says ComicPop is the greatest show on Earth, maybe even in the multiverse. I would like to meet some of our multiversal counterparts. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, me too. Maybe. Tony Connor saying, thanks to you, I now own all of the Energon Universe trade paperbacks and love it. Can't wait to get my remaining 4 Terminator books signed sometime. What you do matters. F Pariah. That's right. Live forever.
You too, Tony. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it.
I love that last part.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm especially in. But yeah, the it's funny, with the Energon Universe thing, I was like, I don't want to miss a thing. Like when I did the Transformers book on back issues, which didn't do better. Who'd have thought? But I was like, I don't care. It's Daniel Warren Johnson. I don't care. But I read every issue of Void Rivals just to make sure that I knew what the hell I was talking about in case Ethan was like, okay, so what's this all about? But I'm not ever going to, if Transformers didn't do great, Void Rivals will never be on the couch unless I win the lottery, which I forgot to check my lottery ticket. I should find it if I did. Cat Lord Event for Treats. Loving these new universes. What do you think are some lessons main books should take from Absolute or Ultimate, or wrong lessons you hope they don't have, or that you hope they don't? Haha.
I think it's really hard for them to take lessons from these books because what is making, I think, Absolute and Ultimate so successful is how daring they're able to be and how the swing size that they can take.
Yeah.
Because, we don't know how long these universes will last.
Yeah.
And so it's like they can do whatever they want because they're not worried about the longevity of things. So they can just focus on character development without having to worry about having to take something back or make it last for 50 years.
That's true. I think there's 2 big lessons that could be derived from the Ultimate and Absolute lines. And I think the first one is creator centric. Creator focused is key.
Yeah.
Not editorial focused, not editor focused, not editor driven. Has to be creator driven. Creator driven, creator focused, creator first has to be paramount. Okay. And so when it comes to that, that's a big element. The other thing is publishing, and it has to do with how it is presented and how it is backed. You have your big mainstays, you have your publishers behind you. Marvel did a big push for the Ultimate Universe, DC did a big push for the Absolute Universe, and it shows. And that 1-2 punch of a combination is why people are excited. You're giving them permission to be excited. I think when you see what DC's doing with those pocketbooks that are giving people a jumping on point, the other thing, of course, and the third secret point that nobody asked for is that they are ground floors. It's the same reason why New 52 did well. It's the same reason why every reboot does well. Ground floor no context, permission to jump aboard.
Yep.
But
well,
those little pocketbooks
yeah.
also provide the exact same experience, because
Oh,
now
for
you're
sure.
like, because what everyone complains about, and every horrible good faith argument about manga versus Western comics is like, you could read volume 1, 2 to 908 and you're good to go. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can't wait to jump on One Piece. Thanks. But like, you actually can, with those little pocketbooks, go like volume 1, volume 2. Like, you can actually create an artificial system of ground floor jumping on, even if it isn't necessarily in good faith or true. But that's the case across the board. You know, comic book readers or potential comic book readers, you know, they all have to start somewhere. And the Herculean task is getting them to start.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Arduit says, also, have now gone and caught up with Tynan's Wind series, and it's just so good. Have you read? Tiffany, love the art and vibes. It's just so good. I think I have read.
I think you read at least the first one.
Yes.
But
yes.
Yeah, we haven't talked about
it.
But
I haven't talked about it, and I haven't read any more than maybe the first couple of issues. I'll be honest with you.
Nat reads, hey guys, finally got around to reading Ultimate Black Panther Volume 1. Thanks to you guys. Already pre-ordered Volume 2 for next week. Have a good one. You too, Nat. Glad to hear it.
Love it.
That's fantastic.
Love it, love it, love it. I bet it reads great as a trade.
I'll bet.
T-Time 480 saying, I loved the JL Godzilla back issue so much. I hope you're both doing well.
You know, Kong's in that book too. No, I'm kidding. I think it's fantastic that book was so beloved by you and celebrated on that. This show launched that episode because you covered that book here and stuck with it. So yeah, I'm thrilled.
I am looking forward to it. I'm going to be so sad if the sequel's not good.
Yeah. Matt Fisher, are you coming to C2E2? No. The only reason why I actually went last time is because Benny the Comic Historian sent me. Aww. And it's the last time I saw him alive. And I don't know if I'll ever go back to that show. Go ahead.
Ryan Garcia says, happy Monday. I forgot to mention last week that I loved seeing Sal on the Wolverine Evergreen stream with Near Mint Condition. It was a fun crossover.
Thank you, Ryan. It was a fun crossover. I was happy to do it. New Doc Prime, here's £2 for Orange Skin Venom and Skin Token set.
Yo, that's happening. I'll buy it tonight.
That
Sal will have to give me my $3.
Yes, I will make sure you get your $3.
No, you don't have to. That's happening because that orange skin is the color of this super chat.
Oh yeah, no, it is.
Like it
is orange.
Some people call it the creamsicle. I can't. I just think mac and cheese. Like I just can't help but see like Kraft box mac and cheese just twerking it up.
It's true.
I was like, Sal, come in here. You're gonna see
look
this.
at him go for it.
I didn't tell you what it was. I was
no,
like,
you're
I got
these two balloons just flicking against itself. It's insane.
Somber Shadow says, hey guys, hope you're having a fantastic day. Was wondering if you've read Resurrection Man, Quantum Karma by Ram V. I feel like this is a perfect character for him since he wrote The Many Deaths of Layla Starr.
That's true.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That is kind of a good matchup.
That was, yes, I did read it. Chocobo Kid supporting ComicPop to support comic greatness. Well, thank you for Chocobo Kid.
Very
That's
sweet. Very sweet.
We do appreciate it. And thank you, Somber Shadow, for your generosity. We do appreciate that too. Jacob Montez
says, won't get you a new space, won't even get you Marvel Rivals comic, or a Marvel Rivals comic, but it might get you a Coke Zero.
It might get me. No, it could get me 2 Coke Zeros.
Very kind.
Actually,
Thank
believe
you.
it or not. Yeah, I think so.
Thank you so much for that. That's so funny, though.
Matt Fisher, I wonder what Judge Dredd looks like now that Stallone is playing him, said no one in 1995. No, people were really into that idea. Like, Stallone heard that people were saying that he looked like Judge Dredd. Like, when they said Stallone was playing Judge Dredd, people were like, that's a great idea. Like, back then, they were like, that's a great idea. Now, that said, Stallone was a terrible Judge Dredd. Or he would have been a great Judge Dredd if Judge Dredd from 1995 was directed by John Carpenter. Or, David Lynch or something else. Like, it would have been ridiculous, but that movie is not great. And I owned it.
Man, the other day, for some reason, we were just talking about whatever, and I was like, what would have been cool? I mean, not that if you enjoyed it, fine.
Yeah.
But I was like, what would have been cool if David Lynch had directed Doom Patrol?
I know. You were saying that would have been great. Yeah, he would have loved it.
He would have said no, but whatever.
Danny the Street. Yes. Okay. Where's Grant? Grant, come over here. We'll have Coke. Not the thing, not the nose candy. I mean the drink. We'll go to a diner and we'll drink a Coke.
I want that. Hulkzilla saying, I would pay top dollar to be launched out of a theater Looney Tunes style. You guys are geniuses.
Thank you. We talked about how to save movie theaters in our previous episode of No Comic Required. So, yeah. There we go. Thorn Identity. Paul and MJ Forever, damn it. How dare you? Thank you.
That's a thing now.
Yeah, that's a thing now. Yeah, I can't. I love them. I love them together. I love Top Knot. He's awesome.
Hayden Hamilton says, you create so much content, both on screen and in editing. Are you ever overwhelmed? Tips? P.S. Alex Ross, Justice on the Couch. Love that batsuit. Thanks.
That batsuit's great. Yeah, I'd love to do that. I just haven't. Ben also read Justice, so it's like we have to figure out a way to do it. And it's really long. Like I got like 3 volumes of it, I think. But yeah, I get overwhelmed as much as anybody else does, but I try not to let it bother me. And then I just walk away from it for a little while. Thankfully, I've, the time and luxury to do that.
Yeah. That's you.
Oh, yeah. Matt Fisher says they need to publish an issue of the Ultimate Guide to the Ultimate Universe and just tell us who's dead, who's evil, and who never becomes a hero for whatever reason. If they did that, it'd be obsolete within like 20 minutes of its publication. But I do agree with you. At the very least, they need to have like an intrepid, web-centric intern or advisor make a ongoing thing, like a chronicling thing. I think they make that. I think it's called Wikipedia, but I think they need to do something more contained and more insular, like something for Marvel that does that. That'd be really smart.
They have like a fandom one. I use that a lot.
Yeah, sometimes. They do.
I really am liking people talking about like the idea of David Lynch doing that, like Danny, the 50s pastiche small town hiding a dark secret underbelly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, Twin Peaks is actually Danny. I think it's my most spiritual film.
Oh man, Dex Baker saying, "Don't yell at me, Tiff." I picked up Let This One Be a Devil #1 because of your review. I just got sidetracked with 2. GLC and Absolute Green Lantern were priorities. Totally fair.
Yeah, it's fair.
I'm not gonna yell at you. You picked it up.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
If you like cryptids and you wanted to check it out, like you can do worse than James Tynion IV working with Steve Fox and Kowalski on art. I mean, like, it's just good fun. It's just good fun. Although I think a lot of folks will love it in trade.
Oh yeah.
But like I want it. Just put it in my face.
Our Serial says, out of the 3 Absolute books, which is your favorite? Which is your favorite Absolute book? Do you like the Absolute or Ultimate more? I think the Absolute Universe is more exciting, but I do love what's going on with Ultimate Spider-Man. So I'm happy with that book. Never cancel that series. But out of the 3 Absolute books, my favorite, I mean, like, it has to be Wonder Woman is the best.
Wonder Woman's my favorite Absolute book, hands down. Like, absolutely. It's hard for me to make a call. I'm really excited what's going on in Absolute, but I am actually reading more Ultimate. And enjoying more Ultimate books. Like, I'm really liking Ultimate Black Panther. I like Ultimate X-Men. I am getting into Ultimate Wolverine. I didn't see that coming, and I love Ultimate Spider-Man. Yeah. But Absolute Wonder Woman is just such a beautiful book.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed like the intro we got to a few, like the 3 newest characters with Flash and Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern. So it's like, it's hard to judge. They're also just very different from one another.
Yeah.
So I think there's room for both.
Yeah. With the new ones, I mean, I think it has to be probably either Martian Manhunter or Flash. Probably Martian Manhunter was, I think, one of the best books out of the 3.
I really liked Flash.
The Flash,
and
great.
I think because and hear me out, folks, that came down to a lot of the typography, like the lettering in there, on those, like, establishing pages. That was just a really like well cultivated book.
Exactly. Let's see here. G. Imanari. I think that's you.
Oh, I don't know if you guys saw, but they're giving the Thing skin in Rivals if you're subscribed to Marvel Unlimited.
Interesting.
Oh,
have to look that into.
Will I be able to get that? No,
probably not. Fear and Loathing in General. James Stokoe's Godzilla and Godzilla Goes to Hell would be amazing on the couch. You guys would not be disappointed then. You for introducing me to D-Dubs. Oh, thank you for introducing you. No problem. I'm glad you did.
I read at least the first couple of issues of Godzilla Goes to Hell, and I had a good time. It's wild looking art.
No, I agree. Yeah, no, definitely.
And by the way, Sal put no in the chat, but he's...
No, I mean like, no.
I know.
No.
Oh, Bear F saying, did you see the upcoming Ultimate crossover?
I think Ultimate.
Ultimate crossover coming in June with Miles connecting them all. I've been loving all of them. I can't wait for it.
Yes, I hope it's good. We'll see what happens.
Wait, are they really? Are we coming to the end? It felt like this. I feel like Peach Momoko, like we just had an Ultimate X-Men. We had another one. So I feel like she's like churning it out, but she is very capable of doing that. So
I agree. Yeah. But yeah, I hope it's good. Tea Time 480, Sally Lynch impression is amazing. Thank you.
It really is.
No problem.
It's excellent. It's excellent.
It's just yelling.
It's great. No, it's very specific. Dex Baker saying, also, are you checking out IDW's Godzilla books? Godzilla Heist is cool, and I'm hearing Godzilla Skate or Die is good.
I didn't know about the Skate or Die one, but I have read the main Godzilla book. I got to read Godzilla Heist.
Yes, me too. I just read that once. It was your
King of New York. I forgot to ask this back when the first episode of Born Again aired, but as for an old timer's sake, can Sal give us a "When I Was a Boy"? He did say that. He said it in the friggin' new show, and I can't believe that.
Yeah, we were both like, "Hey!"
Oh, he said it! Yay! When I was a boy.
Oh, that's good to know that someone in the chat mentioned, because in Martian Manhunter there was like that hold the thing up, but I was like, I'm reading this on Comixology, I can't hold up anything.
No,
but I assumed that
I saw it and it looked good. Yeah, I saw it in another form.
Yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's smart. Yeah. But yeah, let's jump into some recommendations for comics that come out this week that we think you should check out.
Okay.
Absolute Batman number 7 is dropping. Hooray. This is part of that two-parter thing.
Yeah,
so we're going to see Absolute for Mr. Freeze.
I am wondering if we'll be seeing this for some of the Absolute books where it's like they wrap up an arc and then another artist steps in for 2 issues because Wonder Woman's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
If it is, that's really smart.
Yeah, I believe it's a different artist.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like a different artist subbing in for 2 books.
To give the other artist.
Because that's what Ultimate Wonder Woman's doing right now. So I'm like, that's just so smart. Anyway.
It's great. The Ultimates number 11 is dropping. It's just a Thor-centric story. That's exciting.
Okay.
I
was going to say, I don't know if I'm ready to meet Ultimate Freeze or Absolute Freeze.
Absolute Freeze looks insane. You're going to love it.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing Spider-Man number 1 is dropping from Joe Kelly. And I think it's one of the Krakoa artists. Pepe Larraz. Yeah. Which is like, wow, what a good idea. Yeah, this is a AAA team. Well, 50% of it is. I'm going to read it. I'll see how it goes. I hear Daredevil ended, and it ended like a big, like, wet brick. So congratulations on that. Dark Patterns number 5 from Batman. Hooray. Storm 7. I like this series.
Are you reading Batman and Robin?
Yeah, I'm reading it, but I'm just no, I couldn't
remember. I could not remember.
Batman and Robin year 1.
Okay. Fair. That's what it was. That's what I was thinking of.
The Moon is Following Us. I completely dropped. I can't believe this. Like, it's funny because like it's a good book, but I think it's like mired in its own like lore.
Interesting.
Like, it's losing the narrative every time. Like it refocuses and gets on like what the book is actually about. It's like great, but there hasn't been a cogent expression of who these characters are. When I say that, I mean anyone who isn't the mom and dad. And then it went off like the rails a little bit, and I'm like, I'll read you in trade, and I'm sure it's fine.
Okay, fair. Whoops.
But, yeah.
Jeez.
We'll see how that goes.
Wow, this is not a lot for me, but hey, Doctor Strange of Asgard number 2 is coming out. I don't know if I can recommend that, but I will read it and check it out, and we can talk all about it next week for sure. And I didn't realize that Phantom Road was still happening.
Yeah.
I have got to catch up.
Well, there's 11 issues. You've got plenty.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Wait, you just rolled past. I can't read that fast. How do you do that?
Well, I know you're not going to read Fire and Ice or Just Orange Family, G.I. Joe, Vatican City, Star Wars, Lower Decks, Adventure Time.
Okay, well, I didn't read those that fast.
I'm just telling you, I know what you're not going to read.
You're wild. Let me see this. Let me see this thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me drive.
Yeah, you go ahead and scroll.
I'm driving.
To the,
wow, look at this. Look at all these books that I
do.
I have like nothing this week?
You have nothing this week.
That stinks.
No, it doesn't. You'll be fine.
Well, it kind of stinks for me. Because that means that like the week after that will be like
we'll be a friggin' freight train. Let's see. Let's look at it.
Oh, yeah, I'm reading that. I'll read that. Oh, reading. Nope. Okay, hang on. Go down. Oh, nope. Reading that. That's 3. Keep going. Oh, 4. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Oh, no. Okay, we're good. Yeah.
Hey.
Right.
What the hell is this? There's a Daredevil book called Unleash Hell, and it's got a Red Band comic.
But it's number 4.
Number 4. I didn't even know this thing existed. It's got Ghost Rider in it. That's fun.
And Muse.
Oh, everyone's favorite villain from Daredevil. Brilliant. I'm so glad they did that.
Well, that's for not even for this week. That's
You know
for
what,
like
though?
2 weeks from now. So like,
But yeah,
don't
you know
worry
what?
about
Muse
everybody.
is fine. Like, you know what? If you're gonna do something like what you did in the last episode with Muse, you could do worse. Anyway, that's it. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're really lucky to have you, and we really appreciate your kindness and your support.
Absolutely.
If you haven't already, make sure to like this video at least. Just give the like button a click and
like right
subscribe to our channel so you know when we're going live every week on Monday nights around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We can talk about comic books every week. We also have new podcasts. Tomorrow I'm dropping another episode with Joshua Williamson, writer of Superman and Nailbiter and Birthright, where we're going to talk more about your questions, taking a whole bunch of questions from you guys, the audience out there. This one is much more centric into how to break into the comic book industry. So if you are interested or you've ever wondered, like, how do I break in? What do I need to do to make my own book or go into the industry? This episode is for you. So check that episode out tomorrow. It's going to drop around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So check that out as well. If you haven't already, watch our No Comic Required podcast with me, Ben, and Ethan. We're going to see if we're going to expand the cast a little bit and see where that goes. But that's been always on the horizon.
What?
And check out Back Issues.
Shocking to me because it's not me.
I know. But and check out Back Issues. It drops this week on Wednesday on youtube.com/ComicPop. And of course, you can watch Tiffany play video games on youtube.com @ComicPop Plays. All links for everything are in the description below this video, which includes twitch.tv/ComicPop, where you can watch Tiffany play video games as well. It's simulstream, so it's on YouTube or Twitch, depending on what your pleasure is. You're playing more Marvel Rivals, so check that out as well.
Yeah, and now we have to get the Venom Orange skin, which I'm actually not even mad about. Like, I was like, so do I want to buy that? Why would I buy that? We're buying it.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese.
Yeah. You might not be around on Wednesday for the stream because you might be hosting an episode, or you're going to be joining.
I'll be joining you for an episode, but at the very least, that means that we could play on Friday when Emma Frost drops. Like,
it's hot.
Yes. Oh.
And it will be. But thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next time.
So cool that it's hot.
So cool it. Yeah, that's right. We'll see you guys next time with another episode. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.